Morning, and it's a beautiful morning in New York City today. Who knows what the weather will bring tomorrow or anything else for that matter. But right now, for me, life is beautiful. 2 down, 1 to go of my radiation therapy. And I really do believe I've beat cancer. Endometrial cancer, I hope, is in my rear view mirror. And to anyone who's suffering today, you have my heartfelt empathy and understanding. Do what the doctors tell you, and you'll be fine. Go early, get those checkups. Make sure every single year you're okay. Because that's what we want. We want a healthy, thriving population. I was so encouraged yesterday. The Brennan Law Center had young millennials and Gen X's and one member of Gen Z speaking about information and how they're advocating for their communities. Even high schoolers want to know more of the facts. And I thought that was phenomenal. And they're not affiliated with the political parties. Most of them, when asked, do they believe in the right or the left, they claim they're unaffiliated. And why? Because they care about the issues. They care about tackling the issues and solving the problems that confront us. And I can only say kudos to the young. It gives me great hope, tremendous hope, and I'm happy to be teaching them and imparting some of my love of history, because that's what they like too. They like to be going beyond what they're taught and find the sources and the archives and understand the meanings behind inflation and inequality. Well, I can tell you from personal experience what it means to be in an inflated society, a society where prices are spiraling under control. I certainly saw it many times when I was the chief executive of Merit Carpets, Inc. And all of a sudden, I'd have prices going up for carpeting. And with that, I had customers on contract. I couldn't raise my prices. If I was used to paying $3.29 a yard for carpet and say getting $10, $11 or $12 at the other end, I couldn't afford to raise that price or I'd lose the contract. So I absorbed it. And labor was usually equal pretty much to the price of the materials. Then you had to figure in your overheads, and after that, my salary. So you can see that things got very tight during the 80s and 90s. If you had inflationary pricing, you didn't pass it on to their customers, not like the monopolies do today. They have no compunction about making high prices. The war in Ukraine has only taken place for 2 weeks. Okay, it's cost tremendous number of lives and devastation and genocide in Ukraine. But it's not the reason for the raise in oil pricing. Not even a little. Oil was on the upswing before. What happens in a 2-week period doesn't constitute enough information to raise your prices usuriously. Sure, down the road, we hope we're going to be hurting Rosneft and ExxonMobil with their huge pipelines in Russia. But that's not happening yet. And that's not all the pricing that we're seeing that's going up. The price of food is going up. Milk, bread, pharmaceuticals. Well, we've got monopolies. We've got monopolies in America that are more powerful than the Russian oligarchs. The Russian oligarchs that we've sanctioned, they only have $200 billion stashed away in overseas accounts. Our oligarchs, the American ones, about 756 people, they've stashed away 1.3 trillion. Who do you think has more power over country? The Russian oligarchs or the American oligarchs? And because most of our industries are monopolies, they've been charging whatever they want. I think that this is a time of war. We have a war against the climate. We're facing a real war where we're supplying weapons and information to the Ukrainians. It's probably time to put ourselves on a war footing. One, so that we can resolve our COVID problems. Two, so we can resolve our climate problems. And three, so we can stop the genocide in Ukraine. If we do that, maybe we can also put a cap on some of those prices. I know that's heresy, but it would be heresy that's good for the American people. When they got a 5.7% increase in wages, everyone said, "Oh my God, that's the spiral." Who are you kidding? The American people don't make enough money to survive. I remember after the crash of 2008, I was paying my guys previously $300 a day for labor. Now we were going into the city and we were competing with national labor shops, and they were paying labor $75 a day. We couldn't compete. Or, as we went into the recession longer, 2010, 2013, unless I could get a lot of jobs for my guys to make it worthwhile for them to go to Manhattan, they'd say no way, because the price of oil was just too much. Sure, they could lower their pricing, but then they need a lot of volume so that they could still make a living. And I would tell my customers, if you want us in the city, you've got to have many apartments available for us to do. We can't come in for one or two apartments where we're making a couple of $100, because it was costing the guys $100 just to fill up their gas tanks. Inflation hurts. It hurts at every level. It hurts at the construction level as well. Because if you don't know what your prices are going to be from one day to the next, you don't know how to price out your end product. And now you've totally excluded the lower and middle classes. When I read that they're suffering and can't afford both rent and pharmaceuticals and food, and they can't take off from work, which is why many go in infected with COVID, we've got a real tragedy on our hands here. We're committing atrocities in America with our inequality. We can't afford to let this go on much longer, or we really won't have any labor left, because they will be starving. The food pantries down south are overwhelmed. This is something we really must concern ourselves with, and we're not. People need to be able to advocate for the Families Act. It's not popular because they think any handout to anyone but the wealthy is socialism. If it's a handout to someone who's making 50, 60 million dollars and up, well, hey, that's capitalism. I don't know why capitalism can't have a heart. I remember I had a heart. I gave paid family leave. Did anyone take it for any great length of time? No, but it was available. Did I give vacation time? You bet. You got a week off. You got a couple of days for personal time. And I made health care available. So I don't understand capitalism without a heart, just like I don't understand what's happening in Russia. And I feel the Russians don't either. Looks like, according to the Financial Times, Putin's inner circle has become smaller. It's Lavrov, it's the head of Rosneft, it's the head of security, and it's the head of the foreign ministry. 4 people surround Putin, and they are the most powerful. Not the oligarchs that have been sanctioned, but these 4 guys whose names I've listed on all my social websites today. So please, if you want to be up to date on the latest news, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Voice of Joyce. I need 29 more subscribers, and then I understand I can do live stream, just like I used to do on Periscope, where you can ask me questions live, and I can answer them. And if I don't know the answer, you bet I'll get back to you on that at the end of the day or at the next YouTube meeting that we have. So that's what I'm looking for. It's not a big ask, but I do need to reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm almost there at 971 or so. So please, if you like what you're hearing and you like my reaction videos and you like the news that you're getting on my social media sites, subscribe to The Voice of Joyce. And then let's all of us increase our voice and our advocacy for change, because we do need fundamental change. Inflation, if it goes too high, is not acceptable. I remember when I was paying 16% for a mortgage on my home. I think it was on $250,000, $4,000 a month. That's a lot of cash for a little bit of money borrowed. The oligarchs don't see that. They borrow at the Fed funds rate, but we're not so lucky. So let's start advocating for ourselves, helping out our communities, and help me to educate you so that you can be the best advocate you can, and perhaps run for office as well. So God bless you, and thank you for listening. To me, this has been a glorious day, one of a many, many more, I'm hoping. Take care, and I'll see you next week.